What's up? What's up, chat and three live stream subscribers and viewers and everybody out there in YouTube land? We're gonna wait for a couple people to file in here, so we won't get into anything real quick. But and I'm gonna do some introductions once we start getting some people in here. But y'all can see that I got Obi Wan Kenobi set up down there in the bottom to read comments tonight. What's he saying? Oh, Obi Wan Kenobi says first. So, how you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Pretty good.
Well, I figured we could start this off with kind of saying what our background would be with Star Wars. I'll go ahead and go first because we're waiting for some people to file in before we get going with the show. My background with Star Wars is when I was a kid, I wasn't able to see that stuff. That stuff was kept from me quite a bit. So the first time I saw any Star Wars was probably in the mid 90s when I met my wife. And she's like, yeah, and I always wanted to watch them, but I just never got to. That was the first time I watched them. It was the original trilogy. And from then, it's just been, I love Star Wars, love what's going on with it. And we got, what's up, Dare2727? What's up, man? So that's my background in it. I've seen everything. I haven't seen all of Clone Wars and I haven't seen all of Bad Batch, but everything else I've pretty much seen. What do you go ahead and go, Ben?
Oh, okay. Well, my background in Star Wars is I don't remember a time where I hadn't watched Star Wars. My dad liked Star Wars, so it's just always been part of my family. And we were running to Taco Bell and Pizza Hut when Phantom Menace came out. We had all the little coins. And we have like Anakin Skywalker, pizza boxes in the living room still, and all the toys and stuff like that. But before that movie came out, I think we only had A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and I didn't know there was a Return of the Jedi when I was a little kid, so I thought that the story just ended with Darth Vader capturing Han Solo, and that was it. And I was okay with that. That was a pretty good story. I liked where it ended right there, but I don't think I watched Return of the Jedi till I was like 11 or 12 and found it at a garage sale and bought a copy of it. But yeah, I've kept up pretty good with all the Star Wars stuff. I haven't finished Bad Batch, and I haven't finished Boba Fett, but everything else, yeah.
Go ahead, Ramron.
Well, my first memory of Star Wars is my aunt telling me that there was this movie coming out when I was a little kid, and so my parents took me to watch it at when we still had a drive-in theater, and so I was able to watch. I barely remember it, but I was able to watch, A New Hope back when it was just called Star Wars, at the drive-in theater, which was pretty cool. And then when Empire Strikes Out came back, Strikes Back, I bugged my dad until he took me to see it after he got home from work. So, and then, after that, it was just, every time I knew something came out, I watched it. I still think that Empire Strikes Back is probably one of the best Star Wars movies. So, that was the last one you thought was it. I mean, that would have been a good one to
yeah, that was it. Darth Vader wins at
glad
the
it
end,
didn't,
right? Yeah, he wins.
Yeah. But for the most part, I've kept up with Star Wars. Saw the prequels when they came out. Clone Wars series, the Rebels. I haven't watched all of Rebels. I keep meaning to go back and finish what I missed, but watch that and the sequels. Not a big fan of the sequels, but I have seen them. Rogue One, Solo. Rogue One is really good. Solo is not so bad. But and then now the series are coming in. The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Those have been pretty good so far. I like those. Like their direction, better than I liked the prequels, or not the prequels, the sequels. And I've read some of the comics, not a lot of the comics, but I've read some of the comics. And video games, like computer games, like Knights of the Old Republic and the Dark Forces
Oh, for Nintendo
games
64.
that
Yeah.
went into like the Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. Those were really good games. So that's pretty much mine.
Yeah, you're a big time gamer, so that follows suit. But I want to let everybody know while we're waiting people to show up. But also wanted to introduce everybody. We have Ramrod over here, so all y'all that watch the channel knows he does some True Live stream episodes. He also does the Transformer IDW comic series with me and Briag. And for the first time down here, we got the infamous, used to be known as Devil, but I've always called him Old Ben Kenobi. So Old Ben Kenobi. And hey, dude, the pod racing helmet is the balls. Hey, you don't have to defend that with me, dude. I like Phantom Menace and I love pod racing episodes.
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah.
that makes the movie.
Oh, dude, I like
Yeah.
racing. So let's see. We got Diamond says, hey, just got back from a cookout. Had to jump on and show some support for my bro pack. What's up, Diamonds? Diamonds, Dare 2727, Cobra Viper, everybody that's in here. Everybody in chat, go ahead and put up your opinions of the show, but make sure everything's respectful because we can all have disagreements, but just make sure it's respectful. I'm going to go ahead and fire this off. Right off the beginning of this episode, they hit us with a flashback of basically a lot of bullet points from the prequels 1, 2, and 3. And I thought it was done pretty well. Like I said, I'm a fan of those movies. Yes, I think there's a lot of goofy stuff in there, but it doesn't kill my love for what they were doing with it. A big fan of several actors in there and a lot of characters. So, what did you guys think about that first opening scene with all those flashbacks?
I really liked it. I mean, it was stayed on point. It was relevant for the series. As we had new, information, new scenes that they added in that's relevant for this series. And I think one of the Padawans that escaped, uh, that is definitely someone that's in the series, I believe. And I'm wondering if we're going to see more of those come in.
What was that? I missed it. Sorry, sometimes I got to do chat. What did you say about that?
Well, one of the Padawans, I think, is one of the main characters of this series, and we'll get into that a little bit later.
Right. But I thought it was done well. I always thought that there's a lot of passion in those first three movies and a lot of heartache. What's up? Hey, I gotta say something to Kurt Kenobi, bro. Kurt Kenobi's my guy, man. How you doing tonight? I know you're a big Star Wars fan. What's it? But there we go. Let's see. Yep, we're gonna get to that, Kurt Kenobi, definitely. But I thought it was good. I thought there's a lot of emotion in there, and I think it plays a huge part in Obi Wan Kenobi's mentality. Because I'll be honest, I've been wanting them to do something like this for years. Because Obi Wan Kenobi is my favorite Jedi, so having them do this, I'm like, you got to do it coming up because he's actually what? How long has it been? 2005 was Revenge of the Sith, so it's been what, 17 years?
Yeah.
So he's old. He's older now, but and not quite old enough as the old Ben was, but I still think it's good enough. And I'm wondering if they're going to olden him up even more as the show goes on. Just kind of wondering about that.
Yeah, it depends on the timeline. How far into their future are they going to get? How close are they going to get to A New Hope?
Yeah, well, Ben, we both know that they said this is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So, and we saw Luke and Leia. So they got to be what, 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, how old do you think Luke was in A New Hope?
Isn't Luke supposed to be like 17 or somewhere close to 17 in A New Hope?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking, is it 20 years after the end of Revenge of the Sith that the New Hope is supposed to be, or is it a little bit less than that? I can't remember.
I don't know either. For some reason in my mind, when I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, so 8 years later, A New Hope happens. Because in my mind, for some reason, I'm thinking he was 18. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, was he in his late 20s?
No.
No?
No,
I mean,
Luke's still.
I can't remember what the actor looked like, but I think the character's supposed to be 20 or less. And I would agree that he would pass for that. Him and Leia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like I said, as I'm going on, you guys have bullet points. Feel free to interject with them and go on. But yeah, I definitely thought the introduction was done well. First thing we do is we see them jump in on Mos Eisley on Tatooine. How many times have we been here? We know this place really well. See, we got see a black man. A black man can't drink says Anakin sucks and he's a child killing POS. Just make sure that whatever you well, make sure whatever you say that you're respectful to people. It's funny though, man.
Well, Anakin didn't do that. It was Darth Vader. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't like Anakin. And you know what? Everybody can have their own different opinions and it's cool. Just respect everybody else. But I'm a fan of Anakin. I don't trip on it at all. But so we're used to seeing Tatooine and Mos Eisley, and I think that it has like a very nostalgic late 70s feel. Like that kind of what they were thinking about doing in Force Awakens. They kind of returning back to there. But like I said, that was 10 years. Then we could jump right into the Inquisitors. So the Inquisitors, how do you guys feel? Are they? Do you guys like them as characters? Do you kind of think they're good in the universe? What do you think about them?
I think they're a good way to bring in, you know, force sensitive, you know, dark Jedi type characters without actually calling them Sith, because you know they've always, you know, come out with that rule, the rule of two, you know, the student and the master. So this is a way to kind of get around that and to, you know, have those force sensitive lightsaber wielding bad guys in your story. And you know, I like, you know, the way they do it. What do you think, Ben?
I think it's pretty good. I think there's a little bit of a difference between like, so one of the things that was interesting, and I know a lot of people complained online about it, was the design of the Grand Inquisitor. How he looks a little different in like Rebels and stuff with the elongated head than what he does in the Kenobi show. And is it the same Grand Inquisitor? That's what I was kind of wondering.
It's supposed to be the same character, and I kind of understand, you know, yeah, he's different, but you know, in this one, he's played by an actual live character, live person. They can't do that, so you know, you gotta you know, take what we can get.
Yeah.
Ah, wait a minute, you're muted, Pack.
Yeah, we'll get to a lot of that coming up later, but this is kind of their grand entrance into the live TV shows. We've seen them in, I think, like you said, Rebels, Revenge of the Sith. I think he was in there too. One of the Senate people, I do believe he was in there.
Yeah. One of the races of whatever the that Grand Inquisitor is supposed to be, one of his people was in there.
Right. And there's spoilers in all this, so if you don't want to be spoiled by anything, please leave. And later on, we do know, if you know anything about him, you know that this is not going to be the end of him, because he goes on. If you know the whole story, how Darth Vader has, it's not like his soul trapped or whatever, but he's able to keep him at will. You know, it's almost like bringing him back all the time. I don't think he's able to pass, the way I was kind of reading some of the comics about the Grand Inquisitor and how Darth Vader brought him up. So, but when they came in and they were kind of looking for the Jedi, nothing in this really jumped out at me as being real awesome. Like I said, I usually watch, I haven't told chat this, but I usually watch everything after it airs. Mm-hmm. Like I'll wait for 3 to 4 episodes to pop, or I'll wait for the whole series just to happen, and then I'll watch it all. So this is kind of new for me, doing it along the way, so I can't pass judgment until I know the whole story's gone. But so far, it's a little boring to me. Do Do I think it's okay? Yeah. We're all waiting for the buildup of Obi-Wan and Vader to surface. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but that brings up another question that I was going to hit on, and that's continuity. Now, the big question that I know everybody wants to see it, but how can you do it and maintain continuity? How can we have the two meet without breaking continuity? Because in my mind, the comment that they made, that the conversation that they had in A New Hope, that the last time we met, uh, you were the master and I was the learner. Now I am the master. To me, that is firmly established. I think right now Vader is of that mindset. He is the master.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a mistake for them to meet, at least, face to face.
yeah. We're trying to figure out how they're going to spin that off because, yeah, in A New Hope, it was when they had the interaction, they definitely made that known that that's the last. They hadn't talked to each other since the events of Revenge of the Sith. Obviously, Revenge of the Sith hadn't happened when they did the New Hope, but you know what they're referring to when you see A New Hope.
Right.
So, how are they going to spin that to be accurate? Don't know, but they might want to make sure they do that because they'll definitely get killed if they don't. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. People
So,
will hammer the shit out of it.
yeah.
So
And that's a lot of problem with some of the shows. They're good, but they just kind of break character development from the past or some kind of continuity.
Yeah.
And when you have an established universe like this, it doesn't set well with a lot of people. So, but um, you had a couple bullet points you wanted to go over, Ramron.
well, I just kind of want to talk about Obi-Wan, kind of his mental state right now. I mean, he obviously is, he's kind of detached and feeling guilt about how things turned out, and has some PTSD over it. uh, you know what are your thoughts on that?
Go ahead, Ben. You want to take it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, everything checks out there. I figured it would be how exactly how they portrayed him, because at the end of Revenge of the Sith, it's very much like Obi Wan Kenobi has given up, and they're just going their separate ways, and everything's just like that. So, I mean, I'm kind of happy we don't find him in a crazed state like Yoda, just like out of his rocker completely.
Right.
But yeah, it is how I thought it would be. Um, and like the flashback sequence when he's dreaming and stuff like that, I like that it plays that, because in the back of Obi-Wan's mind always there's a reason not to like pick up his lightsaber again, and it's because of all that went down, and that just is always with him. So far I think they nailed the character pretty correctly. um, we'll see how he gets out of this rut.
Yeah. Well, also, something I was just thinking of, given, his current state of mind, he had the conversation with Owen that, hey, Luke needs to be trained. I'm seeing how Obi-Wan is right now. I'm kind of glad that he didn't get trained, because I don't think Obi-Wan's in the right mindset to actually train a new Jedi. So, I mean, what do you think about that, Pack?
Mm,
That sound right? Or
well, nothing's right or wrong. It's all opinion, and but I agree. You probably do have some merit with that comment because I always thought Obi-Wan was one of the greatest Jedi there ever was. But and this all takes place from a comic called the Journal of Obi Wan Kenobi, where they chronicleize how he was during this point. So they are following that pretty well because he was pretty broken and beaten, and all he wanted to do is kind of hide and survive instead of being a Jedi and helping people out. So do I think he would have trained Luke right in his mindset? Hell no. It kind of lends to the credit of Yoda. Yoda went through a lot of shit too. You know what I mean? How
yeah,
many Jedi basically survived? I mean, hardcore survived. We know with We know with Boba Fett and Boba Fett and I think Mandalorian too that Ahsoka survived. You got Obi Wan who survived, Yoda who survived. Now I'm talking about after the complete purge. Like right now, we're seeing some of them get killed off,
Mm-hmm.
but those are the hardcore ones that we know right now survived. And I haven't read any other comics or books to know if there's anybody else, but just in the media that we're shown on TV, that's all I know of. So,
Yeah.
um,
Another thing, also, and this pertains also to him training Lucas. Throughout the episode, he never uses the Force until a certain point, and then you get the idea that he is out of practice. So I'm wondering, why is he so out of practice? Has he just abandoned, or is he actually purposefully not using the Force to stay hidden? Because that might using the Force
Might
in a
trigger Darth
meaningful way
Vader.
might draw attention. Other than stopping a blade from killing someone. I mean, just like even by himself at his little cave, if he was practicing the Force and meditating and all that, would that draw the attention of someone else that's Force sensitive that is hunting Jedi?
right. That was a lot of the Inquisitors' background. So Inquisitors, okay, if I'm understanding this correct, and there is several media, I think I'm not sure if it was bad. No, it's not. No, it's not Bad Batch, but the media is the Inquisitors most of them were Jedi before, and I do believe they were under Vader's watch, and he twisted them, informed them with the dark side. I think it was definitely by will, though. I think. Do you guys know whether or not the Inquisitors they went over there willingly, or if it was some kind of torture type
I
force
think
deal?
I think my impression, and I haven't seen all the source material, but my impression was it's it's either, and it could be both, but they're younger, Padawans that are very easy to influence, or they were older Jedi that they tortured into, you know, accepting the dark side.
Okay, because I was kind of thinking that what I had known was that they were kind of tortured and sent that way. Looks like here it says that. Hold on a second. Vader chopped off their hands. I do believe he's talking about the Inquisitors, maybe or not.
Yeah, he said each one of the Inquisitors had one limb chopped off in Legends.
Okay. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. That is right here. Right here. Yes, and in Legends. So like it's I wanted to kind of go through maybe like through the beginning to the end, but I don't really want to do that now. I prefer just kind of talk about the stuff as it goes. I think it's awesome that the Inquisitors are being brought into the TV series media of Star Wars because I think they're a pretty cool side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know certain people don't like what Disney's doing. Like Cobra Viper says right here, people spent their lives learning the history and storylines of Star Wars, and Disney's shit all over that. And there are a lot of people who do not like the Disney route, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. At the end of the day, you like what you like. If you like it, you win. If unfortunately you don't like it, it does suck for you. Because a lot of the Star Wars universe is large, so I think that's what makes it so awesome. Is because they got books, they got manga, they got comics, they got TV, they got movies. I mean, it's one large cash cow, and you damn well know it's going to attract a big company like Disney. You know what I mean? Like it did. So hopefully it continues to be done right, and this series is done right. Um, so what did you guys think about Reva? Let's talk about Reva because we'll start with Ben. What did you think about Reva? Because I know Ramrod has some points he wants to make about that.
I don't know. I feel like the Grand Inquisitor was pretty lenient on her from like what I was saying. I mean, immediately, like, you get the gist that she's not really obedient to the rest of the Inquisitors and kind of has her own I don't know, her own agenda, which I mean, they even know what her agenda is, but they kind of let her keep on getting away with it.
Why?
I was really surprised she was able to, go about it the way she was, because I figured they would immediately be watching her. And no, I don't know. She's kind of, I guess we'll see how her character grows. I didn't really like her so much, but then again, like, I kind of felt like what's the guy? The guy with the Kung Lao hat. What's it? The second brother, I think he is.
I thought he was fifth brother or something.
Yeah, fifth brother. I like him.
Brother
I
5.
thought he was pretty closely portrayed to how he is in like the animated shows. But like I said, the Grand Inquisitor kind of seems like they maybe like softened him up a bit.
They did. I felt like he like, okay, you need to take care of her fast. But yeah, go ahead.
Because if it was like, I felt like if it was the way he is in the animated shows, he probably would have dealt with her pretty quick, which is maybe that's why they had him portrayed as I wouldn't say lenient, but he's no Tarkin or anything. Like he doesn't seem like a no nonsense kind of guy. He just kind of seems like he's carrying out orders.
Right. I think this is a brilliant point. Riva, her character's not won me over yet, but I'll wait till the end of the show. And that's exactly my motto. I'm not going to pass judgment I'm not even passing judgment. I'm just going to say whether I like it or I don't at the end of it. I think it's unfair to say whether or not you don't like something before it's fucking done, before the story is completely done. You need to give it time to let it roll, let it portray what it's trying to portray, and then decide whether or not you like it. There's a lot of people that get on, and I know that Masters of the Universe was a big one. They killed that thing before it was even over. Now it didn't even end up being that. It didn't end up being that good, okay? But everybody was killing it before it finished, and I just don't believe you should kill it before it's done, before it's had a chance to do what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you on that. Like I've talked about before. Before Kenobi, Obi Wan was even released, I've seen, a whole bunch of YouTubers, ones that I normally watch, uh, start posting videos about, and of course these videos that I didn't watch because I don't want any spoilers, good or bad, but they seem to imply that they already know something, that it's bad, that that it's not even about Obi-Wan, it's about Riva, or it's woke or whatever. Well, they haven't even watched it. I mean, give it a chance. I'm kind of getting tired of that, that kind of, media. And like I said, I'm not even watching those videos that those people put out. So
After a while, it does get tiring because they're trying to get a click. They're trying to I just want to get on here and talk with some people in the chat, people I know on the show, talk about the things we like or maybe about the things that we don't like with the stuff and just kind of hang out. But I ain't going with that fucking shit where I'm putting a big woke in the title just to get clicks. And I think that's a lot of what YouTube media has gone to, straight up right there.
Yeah. It's better just to let the content like speak for itself. I mean, if it's garbage, people will let you know. And also, if it's good, like people, nobody's gonna bash a project that is good just because they hate it. I mean, just let the content speak for itself after it comes out, and then everybody can throw their opinions on there. And yeah, it kind of ruins it for everybody working on the show to like immediately see this kind of stuff, and it's getting bashed on. And I'm sure that's why Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen were hesitant to do this the first time, because they've already been through this like 3 times basically.
Right.
Yeah. And I appreciate the fact that all of the original characters, the original actors that are portrayed in this series came back. I really appreciate it. And even more because of all the the crap that was dished out, when the prequels were originally released. I mean, I had some issues with some things in the prequels, but overall, I really enjoyed them and I liked them. And I hated that people, got up on their soapbox and just put it down like they did.
Yeah.
I think in my experience with people and media, when something that they loved as a child is changed or modified, they may not adapt well. And that don't go for everybody, but there are some people who just don't want that adapted from. I like different stories, so I was never one. So if you were to say, "Man, you kind of just you shit all over my original character or whoever you did," I'm like, "Well, not for me, because that character still lives on no matter what they do."
Yeah,
Like when they fucked up Luke on number 8. All right,
God.
I mean, they fucked him up. That wasn't right at all. So my Luke isn't that. You can't change it. You're not gonna fucking change it for me. All right. So it's there. I'm keeping it. You tried it, but it ain't happening. So
Yeah. Star Wars is just so touchy because, in the time that I guess you could say, like, right after, Ewoks and droids and stuff like that, people have been building this whole entire universe themselves. And Star Wars as a company, before Disney owned them, didn't do anything to stop those people. They kind of, let them go with it and let people do their own thing. And a lot of those stories, unfortunately for Star Wars now, were extremely good and people like them and, like the direction that all that stuff was going in, the expanded universe. And so it's kind of hard for, a company like Disney to come in and remake anything when people have had this idea of where the story goes for like the past 20 years.
right.
yeah, that was a hard pill to swallow. Whenever they said all the books and all that stuff was legends now. Of course, I want to point out that Lucas said that you can do all the stories you want, but if I contradict something in one of my movies is going to be canon. So, I feel that the 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 legends was out there for material that they could, use. It was just kind of sad that Kennedy forgot all about that
I
stuff.
know.
But anyway, moving forward.
Right. I will say this. It's funny. I didn't know the difference at the beginning. I had a dream the other night that they made an announcement that there was no longer Kathleen Kennedy, and that Lucas 100% had everything again, and he made all the decisions. I woke up, and for a while, I was like, I actually called my friend, like, "Hey, man, was there an announcement?" Because you ever had a dream that's like so prominent? I'm like, dude, I don't
So
know if
real.
I did, and I was like, he's like, "Nah, dude, I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "Man, I must have been dreaming that this last night then." But I had a dream, man, and it's a thing that she needs to pay attention to, you know, like removing the books and the stuff that they do. And if you're gonna make director changes, you need to fucking make sure that it follows within the realm of what needs to happen. I just why go so left field of everything? You don't need to go left field of everything. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to push your own agenda over Star Wars universe agenda? You know. But the thing that they can't take away from us is each other being fans. I mean, she can't do that, you know. But
We've tried.
right. You can try whatever agenda y'all, but at the end of the day, as long as we keep being who we are, then they can't do nothing about it. What's up, Northeast Ohio Diecast and M3 Reviews? What's up? Um, you were talking about Riva, Ramrod, and you had some great points because what he's getting ready to say, I picked up right away when I watched it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I got two things I want to say. The first one is I don't know if it's the acting or the direction given to the actor, but the character seemed a little off. Like the acting was a little off or something. I'm hoping that gets straightened out. Uh, in future episodes, it gets it smoothed out. I know that first episode, especially with new characters, new actors are a little rocky, but I'm hoping that gets straightened out.
I agree. Riva to me better not be. Well, like I said, I can't make judgment yet, but I'm like, I hope she's not going to be the focus. I know we were talking about that. Are they trying to make her the focus? To me, this needs to be what it's supposed to be. And that's what I'm going to ask you guys next. Ben, what do you think this show is supposed to be? What is this story supposed to be?
I think it's supposed to be how maybe Obi Wan Kenobi learns to be more optimistic and hopeful for the future of the Jedi. Because right now, like we've seen him, he kind of has PTSD about the whole entire thing and is really reluctant to even take out his lightsaber. So it's probably gonna be like Obi Wan Kenobi trying to get over the events of the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and showing how he goes on to, like, I don't know what his relationship is with Luke, because like in A New Hope, Luke kind of acts like he's only ran into Obi-Wan a handful of times and doesn't really know who he is. So, but apparently, Princess Leia has a pretty good relationship with him. So maybe it's going to be like, Obi-Wan convincing her to or convincing the Organas or something like that to go against Vader and stuff like that and form the Rebel Alliance. I'm not for sure, but this is basically going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi's rehabilitation story from what I get.
Okay. Before you go, Ramrod, Jeff Roman says, I've always thought the next generation should write the next chapter and keep the storyline going. Keep the force carrying on. I think there's a lot of people high up in places that don't know anything about these fucking franchises, and that's what the problem is. I can tell you that's exactly what's going on with G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
You got people that don't know fucking canon, that don't know the history, don't know the story, and some algorithm, some computer system spit out this person that would be good to do the job. That's wrong. That's a whole part of why I talk about what I'm against. I'm against people losing their humanity. And that's what I'm saying. Some machine spit somebody out as a fucking candidate, and you're seeing what's happening from all this. So go ahead, Ramrod. Where do you think this story is heading? Wait a minute. No. Where do you think this story should head? When they say we're getting the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, what do you want and what do you think should be filled in?
Well, I want to finish my thought on Reva.
Okay.
Her storyline. I'm so far I'm liking her storyline, and it's gotten me curious. What is her beef with Obi-Wan? Because I don't think it's just trying to get credit with Vader or the Emperor. And two, how does she know who Vader is? How does she know that Vader is Anakin? Because that's only supposed to be known by a very few people. So her storyline's got me curious, and I want to know more. And your comment about, and chat's comment about the legacy of Star Wars, the current, creators, taking on Star Wars and creating new stories. I think everybody will agree that from years after Return of the Jedi and before Phantom Menace, and then after the prequel series, we were already doing that. There were authors out there writing books. There was, writing comic books about Star Wars. I mean, you had all of the legends and different media like computer games. And we were already doing that. Then Disney came in, bought the rights, and said, hey, we're going to do our stuff. And then they put people in charge of it that didn't appreciate it. Now, Kennedy, I think, was working with Lucas at that time, and you can go back and watch videos of this meeting. But Lucas believed that she had the best intentions for the legacy of Star Wars, but she got it. Once she got it, she turned it around and just used it to fulfill whatever agenda she had. So, what I want to see is a continuation of what came before. The legends. I want to see legends on the big screen.
Yeah.
All that Star Wars legends. I want somebody to cherry pick that and say, hey, I want the Thrawn trilogy up there. I want movies about that. I want a TV series about, the Thrawn trilogy or the Jedi Academy trilogy or those, all of that source material. I want that because there's so much, good stuff already out there.
Right. I'm so like a big question. In all this is, after I answer what do I want out of this? The big question to me is what is her infatuation? Why is she so obsessed about bringing Obi-Wan to Vader? You know what I mean? So that's the big question in my mind with that. But what do I want out of the series? I want all the holes filled in. All right. I want the timelines kept. I want continuity to be correct. We all know what I mean when I say correct continuity. You don't have plot holes. We don't have to sit here and go, well, did this happen when the very first movie says this or whatever? That's what I don't want. I don't want to have to pick something apart because you didn't take the time. Here's what I say: when there's continuity in shows or movies, that's the person not taking the time to research the material. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's see. I'm gonna go over chat. So
I think someone already mentioned in chat the point that I was going to also bring up about Reva is she's one of those Padawans that escaped, and I'm wondering if that has to do with her hatred, because I think there is a hatred from her to Obi-Wan. I just want to see that come out and get that, let that get explained.
okay, I'm going through chat right now, but somebody makes a comment here that I was going to touch upon. Just a second. No, generation, story, history, exactly. Okay, so King Nut Diecast Cars, welcome in, sir. Glad to see you here. Seeing several of your videos, man. Like I said, really glad to see you. He says, I don't like the Obi Wan Kenobi went from a badass that just took down General Grievous to a little man that is unsure of his abilities. What happened to him that turned him so dramatically? That is definitely a topic that I said we're going to discuss. Who wants to go first? I can go, but I'll prefer.
I'll make a couple of comments about that because I think
then,
I know what happened.
Right, and then you go next, Ben.
10 years. 10 years of feeling guilt for his part in what happened, or what he perceives as his part in what happened, and trying to stay hidden and just doing mundane things. So he's 10 years out of the fight. So basically, I mean, you're not going to go get a boxer that has just been doing a regular day job for the last 10 years and expect him to go back in the ring and without any training time and be a contender. So that's my thoughts.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. To answer that question, what happened? Basically, the rest of Revenge of the Sith is what happened to Obi-Wan. So, he because Anakin's not his Padawan; it's Qui-Gon's, and so he takes Anakin under his wing with full responsibility to Anakin, and is trying to raise him this whole entire time. Is basically like, because it's like his kid at this point.
And he wanted to fully respect Qui-Gon, who he held up here high. That's what Qui-Gon wanted him to do. Go ahead.
So all this stuff basically happens under Obi-Wan's nose. And I mean, through like the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, you kind of get the idea that Obi-Wan somewhat knows that something's going on with Anakin. but he turns a blind eye to it because, Anakin's his friend, it's his Padawan, it's his buddy. And he doesn't want to really think that, anything would come of this. And then Anakin ends up slaughtering everybody. So, I think that is enough to humble somebody. I mean, like, not only is Obi-Wan's whole life ruined because of that, but everybody else's life is ruined. And basically he ruined the galaxy because he probably feels that he didn't pay close enough attention to Anakin. So, I mean, I bet after Obi-Wan fights General Grievous, he isn't thinking that he's a badass that just defeated General Grievous. He's probably thinking like, oh, why are these clones shooting at me? Something really bad is happening now. And he's probably felt responsible ever since.
I'm going to say exactly. I had to think real quick. This is my guy. This is my guy, Obi-Wan. Why is he like this? And then when you stop and think all the media, those two were like brothers. Okay. The whole thing with Leia, or not Leia, but Padme. There's just so much that happened between the two, and he's taking it all on the chin.
Mm-hmm.
And PTSD is a real motherfucker in life, in real life, to anybody that has it, and that's exactly what he has. When he keeps having nightmares of this shit, it's bringing him the fuck down. And I don't know anybody who wouldn't feel the same way, especially the way Ben just described it. He feels like he's the reason why the entire galaxy is all fucked up now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's all on his shoulders right now. So yes, we all knew this even before this series happened. During this time, Obi Wan Kenobi was a broken man. We all knew this. They said that. There's comics that dealt with it. So it's following that path. Will he rise up? I believe so. I believe there's some stuff that's going to happen that will take him from being that person to him showing his strength again. It's too early to categorize him as being a coward. He has to be able to process his PTSD, just like anybody else would need to be able to do. So if we can't give that kind of credit, then I don't understand why we couldn't.
Yeah. If the events of like Revenge of the Sith and everything afterwards didn't affect Obi-Wan Kenobi somewhat like it is now, I would say that's just not a very good character. I mean, like, Obi-Wan was responsible for Anakin.
Yeah, I just sliced my brother in half after I burnt him to a crisp.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. And there's that.
I mean, you physically saw that. Okay. There's a soul to Obi-Wan. Some of these Jedi they portray as just doing blinders. Okay. You can't have no love. You can't love anything. You just have to do what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big downfall they said with Anakin. He loved, the Jedi weren't supposed to love. You almost feel like Obi-Wan had a little bit more, feeling than most of them did. But I completely respect he's broken right now. I don't fault any character design. I don't fault any storyline direction with this. How is it going to play out? That's what I'm wondering.
And as far as his ability to use the Force, I think of that as just like not using a muscle for years, or you go from a job that is like a construction worker, you're using your physical muscles all the time, and then you go get an office job. If you go after 10 years and go back to the construction job and you try to do the same lifting and the same thing that you've done before, and during that office job period you didn't do any kind of extra muscle building, you're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to be able to do the same thing until you get worked up.
I want to go ahead and just bounce off that just to talk with you. And I know Cobra Viper brought this particular comment up. And like I said, I got nothing but respect for everybody in the chat. Cobra Viper is a buddy of mine. In fact, the piece he got from me is right there sitting high on my shelf, man. That guy's pretty awesome, and I love him, man. And I'm going to say this exact thing. I've worked on cars my whole life, 20 plus years. There's a saying called use it or lose it. If you're out of the business for a while, you will forget some of the tricks, some of the repetition that you had, and you would think, no way, man, no way. But yes, even as a mechanic, there's a lot of sayings. Don't disturb the dirt. Like if a machine is not had the fluid change in a long time, like a transmission, you don't mess with it. But one of the sayings that OGs taught me was use it or lose it. And I feel like that's exactly what's happened here. You need to train in this. They're not, when they become master, they don't stop training. They have to continually train. So he just stopped everything.
Yeah.
He's not being one with anything for all this time.
See,
So
I think the knowledge is still there.
yeah,
He is just out of practice.
right. Yeah. I'm gonna get caught up in chat, but did you have any other bullet points, Ramrod?
Oh, I got a few, but let's see. Ben, did you have anything you wanted to bring up that we haven't talked about yet?
Nope. I'm just following along with you guys.
I want to say how awesome is Ben's hat, dude. That hat is balls out, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, look at it. Even if you don't like Anakin, you don't like number 1, that's a badass helmet, bro.
If I get pulled over in a DUI with this helmet, I'm 100% not getting a ticket.
Oh my god, bro.
I want to bring up a small point, and I didn't even think about this until I saw another reviewer mention this. Who killed the Jedi? The Jedi that was hanging in town? Who killed him?
It didn't say, it just kind of showed him. Well,
the Inquisitors weren't there. They had already left town, and then they came back later. I mean, I guess they could have done it, but the implication is that it might not have been them. It might have been people in the town, because him being there was causing them trouble. Somebody, I kind of feel it's hard to believe that unless it was a bunch of people getting together, could have done that to a Jedi, or maybe they poisoned him. Maybe, I don't know, but that's a question,
Well, will we receive it? Will we get it answered later on, or is it just going to be one of those things that we didn't take enough time to show you what happened? Or let me put it this way: we didn't take enough time to explain any of this. We just had to shoehorn it in real fast because, like you said, you are right. Now that you talk about it, they weren't around.
Oh yeah, that might be something that will, like you said, it'll either come up or it won't. It'll just be a mystery.
Right. What's up to Animal Mother Customs 80, bro? What's happening, man? It's great. It's great to see you and everybody else here, man. So we have not talked about the whole part where they pan to Alderaan with the whole Leia thing. It's not really my favorite part. I'm not hating on anything, but to me that was just kind of like the down point of the episode for me. So I didn't get a lot of meat and potatoes out of it. I just kind of watched it, and maybe something will happen later that makes it a little more important. What do you think, Ram? What do you think, Ben? I
was excited to see Bail Organa. That was probably my favorite part, was him showing up in the episode. Nothing really happens with that. I don't know. That part's kind of weird. I guess I don't know. It's a lot of fill in the blank type information because it's, it's kind of like, how did they know so much about the Organas and know that they are in contact with Obi-Wan, but at the same time, they can't seem to find Obi-Wan. So they're using her to draw him out. I guess they've just been watching the Organas, but at that, Darth Vader in A New Hope, he says he knows, like, on Alderaan that they're supporting the Rebel Alliance. And maybe they are this whole time, even when the events of the Obi-Wan show are going on. They just haven't really shown any of that. So I was just kind of confused on how they used them to weed Obi-Wan out. But I like them showing Alderaan. I thought it was really cool that we got to see the planet. And like I said, Bail Organa and Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers shows up, and
or Needles.
Yeah.
I'm always interested, like when a show has when a successful TV series or show that's on a platform goes into another season, it was successful. I'm always like, what kind of famous actor am I going to see in the next season? So when I watch this, we obviously know the TV series are taking off. Yes, they do have their issues with some stuff, But I was like, okay, we got Flea. And like you guys have said, we have some original OGs that did come back. And anytime that happens, man, Bail Organa, it's great to see that. It's great to see that shit. Hayden Christensen coming up. Ewan McGregor. Who else is an OGer?
Owen. I forget the guy's name, but he goes by Owen right
Yeah,
now.
Owen, Boba Fett, those actors. I can't remember their name, but Jimmy Smits is Organa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say that the lady that's playing his wife is also the original actress, but I could be wrong.
Do you think it's her from number 3?
I'm thinking that it might be her.
Anybody in the chat or knows that or can look it up, let us know if she is this original actor in that.
But I kind of liked the Alderaan story. You get to see Leia, you get to see her, personality, her development, and because New Hope, she is very, strong-willed, sassy, pretty stubborn, and that's coming out in the young Leia, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they want to show too, and they want to have her be a participant in this story, and they need to make a connection between her and Obi Wan. So I like this as a good character development, and I appreciate it.
Yep. I immediately thought in one touch point on what you said. How did they not? Okay, everybody knows that Bail Organa served alongside the Jedi. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So why did it take them 10 years to try to surface that out?
I don't know. It may not have been. This is my assumption as the viewer, just filling in the gaps. But I'm just assuming it wasn't. It didn't appear on the outside to be any more than some of the other senators, and it took somebody researching the archives, like Reva mentioned that she did, or to find a more than a passing connection between the two.
But Vader knew. Vader known. You don't need to go to archive. Vader has known that he was a part.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So right there. See, that's the things that I see. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, that don't make sense to me. Like, you know what I mean? So Vader. So that's the kind of things that I wonder. Like, okay, are you going to explain why that you're making Vader seem stupid? Let's just talk about the Emperor too. So what Anakin knows, the Emperor knows.
Yeah, it may not. Yeah, I don't know. It may just be something they didn't think of, and they may be following up other leads.
Maybe.
That's true.
Kurt Kenobi said earlier he loved the fact that they brought a Jawa in. That whole scene with Obi-Wan and the Jawa. I like Jawas too, man. Yeah. So I thought it was pretty tight, man. So.
Although he should have cleaned the board.
Yeah, he should have cleaned it. That was his fault. Right now, he's the villain of the show.
Hey, when we talk about Obi Wan Kenobi, we make famous quotes like, "I have the high ground." Hello there, stuff like that. So is that now legendary Obi-Wan? You should clean the board. Yeah. So that brings up my next point. We're going to kind of talk about the end. If you guys got something else you want to discuss that we haven't touched on, the end when Reva basically brings it to Obi-Wan's attention that Anakin lives. How can he not know that Darth Vader lives? Darth Vader is a presence in the galaxy like no other. You're trying to tell me Obi-Wan Kenobi has not heard of Darth Vader? And I thought in Revenge of the Sith, they had, and I may be wrong, I thought they had touched upon the fact that Obi-Wan knew that Anakin turned to Vader.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to watch it again, but I wouldn't doubt it. I just didn't remember if they did or not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when they were showing him that, hey, he's turned to the dark side, and now he's known as Vader, I'm pretty sure that they did make him aware of that. And if It's been 10 years later. You think the entire galaxy knows who fucking Darth Vader is?
Well, I mean, I think he's done a very good job of, keeping, his distance. He lives in a cave. He comes into town, goes on the work train, works. Doesn't look like he's really talking to people, and then he gets back on the train, goes back to town, goes back out to his cave, and then he goes and watches Luke from a distance. So
He does, but even Ben, how you can try to seclude yourself, but when there's somebody that powerful, okay,
Yeah. Only thing
and
I would
you're on
say-
you're on Tatooine. Tatooine's been the center hub of this whole story from the start.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would just say that like they make it very outer rim. They mentioned that like in the episode that like Tatooine's in the outer rim. They're like, why are you guys even here? Whenever what's his name is talking to the Inquisitors. So maybe it's that kind of situation. Like Darth Vader just doesn't have much presence on Tatooine. And then again, like, I don't know, maybe Anakin or Darth Vader just doesn't send that many people to Tatooine and they're kind of out of the loop, you know?
For me in my head canon, it's an error. That's just we have our own a guy we all know, Sardo Nomus 82. Shout out to him. He coined that phrase head canon. So in my head canon, they made a mistake right there. Obi Wan to me already knew that Anakin was Vader.
I was kind of surprised that came out like that, but when they did come out with it, I started instantly thinking, why wouldn't he know that? And so, like, I mean, one, he's on the outer rim. There's no internets.
So, there's no internets.
He's living in a cave. He is getting zero news other than what he might overhear when he's going to town, getting a job, and then going right back, or what a Jawa might tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much does Jawas know about Darth Vader and who he is? So,
but also like the bad guys whip out, like they come out with Darth Maul and like then they get Dooku and they get like General Grievous and like where do any of these guys come from? So if he had heard of Darth Vader, maybe it would be more like it's just like another Empire enforcer basically, or another, minion of Palpatine's.
Yeah.
He maybe wouldn't put two and two together. Because at this time, like Darth Vader is Darth Vader, but also like in A New Hope, like Grand Moff Tarkin is probably as feared as Darth Vader is, because Darth Vader has to listen to Moff Tarkin. So it's probably one of those things that he just thinks this is another like bad guy, even if he did know about Darth Vader. Yeah. He wouldn't probably put two and two together that the guy he left at the foot of a volcano is Darth Vader.
Well, Kurt mentioned in the chat, I believe he's saying that Obi Wan knew before the big fight at the end of Revenge of the Sith, he knew that Anakin was going by Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So I think he would have had that connection, but he left assuming that he left him to die. At any point, because he went straight to Tatooine after the babies were born. And is there any point after he reached Tatooine that he would have, gotten news of, the people on the, they have newspapers on Tatooine or?
Yeah.
I'm just saying word of mouth, dude. When you're slicing up that big ass dragon fish motherfucker in the desert and y'all are just sitting there all day long like Obi-Wan, somebody might talk. Somebody's been somewhere before. Somebody's talking about something eventually, man.
Yeah.
So
it's a stretch. I'll give you that.
Yeah. How much info does the Empire disclose to the public too? Because for all they know, like Darth Vader's like a ghost story to like
when it's fear, if it's fear, which they're spreading peace through tyranny. Okay. When it's fear, they're damn straight going to let you know who the big players are. That's what I'm saying. So I was like, is this just another thing where they're building up this Reva character to be like, oh, she just dropped it on him. Oh my God, she's the person that dropped it on him.
I
I
mean,
don't
you're
know.
probably right about that. At the end of the day, you're probably 100% right about that part.
So, all right. So before we get out of here, man, everybody's been great in the chat. We're gonna go ahead and say cons. Pros and cons about what you liked about the show. I think I just discussed what I didn't like. I didn't like the whole fact with the Darth Vader. I'm a big fan of a lot of Star Wars movies. I think Emperor Palpatine is one of the baddest ass villains of all time, most infamous, and Vader as well. You just can't kill the guy. So to me, in my opinion, he's a pretty badass villain. So what I didn't like the fact was that there's a plot hole in my head canon with the Vader. Um, what I did like was I just enjoyed seeing the guy that I love play Obi Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor, back again, playing the role, doing the thing that he loves. So that was great for me. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I like the show so far. I think like what we had talked on, I kind of hope that they don't use like characters like Obi-Wan and Darth Vader as a stepping stool to like boost this Reva character to everybody.
Agreed.
That would be unfortunate. Just let the character and the action speak for himself. You don't need to like trample over other things and other continuity just to get this character across to people. Because if she's cool, people will like her no matter what. Darth Maul shows up like not even that long in Phantom Menace, and people love Darth Maul.
Oh, that's a great point. You don't have to force anything down anybody's throat. If it's good, it's good.
Yeah, yeah. So I can't say yet if I hate the character completely, obviously, because we just haven't seen enough. So I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. Before we go with Ramrod, Cobra Viper says Vader follows the chain of command. You think he will be happy the third sister broke rank and attacked the Grand Inquisitor? That's a very good point. Will they gloss over this and just? Yeah, like that's the problem. That if something like that happens, Darth Vader should be. I think you're right on that point. I think Darth Vader doesn't want chain of command broken, but spoiler alert. I want to say it time and time again. If you don't know, mute this shit right now. Skip this part. Anybody that knows the stories with Star Wars knows the Grand Inquisitor is not dead. So there's that. Go ahead, Ramrod. Your pros and cons.
Let's see. I think my only con is with Reva, the actor. I think her acting was a little bit off, and like I said, I'm hoping it works itself out. But one of the pros is I like how they're setting up her story so far. Like I said, they have to develop the new character, the villain. They have to be a good villain. They have to develop the villain, and so far, she's the one in the story with the least amount of development coming into the series. So I fully expect that they will give her some, additional airtime. Um, will that take away from the rest of the story? We'll find out. Pros. Absolutely love the return of the original actors to their characters. Always been a big fan of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. I think Hayden Christensen did all right. He didn't do, great at Anakin Skywalker, but I think he did all right, and I think he is going to do good coming back because I think it also has to do with direction. I think we'll see, but I have good hopes that he will do well in his portrayal of Darth Vader. I like the callbacks to the other sources, to the prequels. Owen refusing to let Obi-Wan train Luke. I mean, that's straight from A New Hope. The T-16 toy that made an appearance. That's right out of New Hope. That Luke as a teenager or the age he was in A New Hope was sitting there playing with that toy. So and yeah, I still play with my fighter jets, so space fighters. Anyway, um, so far overall, I think it's a good story. It's leaving me wanting to see more. So that those are my pros.
I did forget to touch base on this real quick. The scene where Obi Wan comes across the clone trooper. Um, I always wondered why. Why did the Empire change from clone troopers to grabbing people off the streets or whatever and turn them into stormtroopers? Because they said it was too much money to keep having clone troopers. Now we know why the fuck a stormtrooper can't hit the broadside of a barn. You know
Yes,
what you know what I'm saying?
clone troopers, good soldiers. Conscripts, not so good.
No. So I mean, it was great. I'm trying to remember what the name of the actress. His name is. We didn't touch base. He came back again. His name starts with a T.
It's like Tamora Morrison or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how it's.
I'll find it so we can give him some love. So hold on. Where?
Yeah, I'd really appreciate him coming back too. Being able to do Boba Fett and all that, because that's a series that I just binge watched last week. So
Yeah, you were right. Tamura Morrison. Yep. So there was another legend that did come back. I appreciate that, King Nut. Um, real quick, go around because hey, we like to interact the chat. We like them to be part of what we do. What is your guys' most prized Star Wars possession? Ben, hit it.
Mine's probably pretty stupid, but I have these pillows that they came out with for the Phantom Menace, right? And one pillow is Anakin Skywalker with a pod racer helmet on, and he's just staring like this. The most menacing looking pillow you've ever seen. And then the other one has him in the Naboo starfighter fighting like those, I forget what those droid ships are called. But he's basically in space fighting the droid ship. So it's probably like that pair of pillows. That's, yeah, I've always had those.
Right now, our most prized possession in the house, we do Legos here. I know Ramrod does Legos here. Where we are currently building the big ass R2D2. It's like fucking this big.
Wow.
So and just right now, the legs are built, the body's built, the upper portion's not built, and this thing is easily going to be the best piece in our collection. It's pretty nice, and I'm not a prisoner of the moment. What's new, what I just get is it the best. I just think it's pretty awesome. They did a good job on that. And shout out to Ramrod. I got the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer is pretty awesome. I got that from Ramrod, and it's a nice piece as well. So when it comes to Star Wars, yeah, I do some Black Series, but our Legos are our favorite when it comes to Star Wars. Go ahead, Ramrod.
yeah, I love my Star Wars Legos. My prize piece at the moment is the UCS Millennium Falcon.
Oh god.
They finally pulled the trigger on that to get it before it actually retired. So I wouldn't have to pay like 2 or 3 times the amount that it originally was. But yeah, that I haven't put it together yet, but that's going to be one of those projects where it's going to take a while. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, but I want to give a huge thanks to the chat. Everybody in the chat, guys, you killed it. Everybody was respectful. That's all we're asking for. Not all of us agree all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. I want to give a huge shout out to Ramrod. I appreciate you doing this show. Old Ben Kenobi, formerly known as Devil. Anybody's been watching my channel for a long time knows I used to put up this guy on my hunts called Devil. This is that guy right here. That's him, man.
I had to change it.
He's always Devil to me, but I used to call him, the reason it says Ben Kenobi, I used to have 2 nicknames for him. I'd be like, oh, Ben Kenobi. So we roll with that tonight. But like I said, I appreciate them guys for doing this and everybody out there. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and put this. Wait a minute. We're going to go ahead and put this out there because I'm telling you what, we're all wondering right now about that.
Yeah.